Something just happened in the world of crypto that signals that altcoin season could be here and starting right now. And today I'm going to explain to you exactly what this signal is, why I believe it's so important, and what I'm now expecting from the crypto market going forward. So we have a good bit to unpack today. So let's get to it. And guys, do not forget that if you want to start trading some crypto yourself on up to 500x leverage, you can check out that link to BTCC down below where they're going to give you a 10% bonus on first time deposits. Guys, this is tens of thousands of dollars that you could receive right now, today, to start trading with. The size of that opportunity is just absolutely ridiculous. Head to the link down below and go check it out. Now, today we're going to be focusing in on what's called a Bitcoin dominance, okay? Bitcoin dominance. And Bitcoin dominance is a very misunderstood chart, I believe, because Bitcoin dominance is quite simply just a ratio. People try to call it a bunch of different things. Some people even call it an asset within itself, but I don't really see it that way. It is literally just a ratio. And the ratio is what percentage of the total market cap is controlled by Bitcoin. So let's say hypothetically, the total market cap of all of crypto was $100, a good old Benjamin Franklin, right? And the total market cap of all altcoins was $40. Okay, this is altcoins. And the total market cap of just Bitcoin alone was $60. Guys, Bitcoin dominance would be 60%. And let's say, for example, this went up by 2%, and this went down, or this went up by 2, and this went down by $2. Well, guess what? Now Bitcoin dominance is 62%. It's literally just that simple. It is the total market cap that is under the control by Bitcoin. But what we have come to recognize by studying Bitcoin dominance is that it has a very, very clear ability to show us what is in control of the market. If Bitcoin dominance is going up, it means that in that situation, whether the market itself is climbing or falling in size, Bitcoin is outperforming. So when Bitcoin dominance is going up, it means people are doing they have more trust in Bitcoin. They're either buying it more or selling it less. And what I mean by that is, say hypothetically, the crypto market itself is pumping. If while the crypto market itself is pumping, Bitcoin dominance is going up, it means that Bitcoin itself is pumping more than altcoins, therefore retaining a larger and larger growing piece of the total market cap, therefore Bitcoin dominance is going up. If the total market is going down, okay, and we're seeing Bitcoin dominance going up, what that means is that, yes, people are selling and Bitcoin's price itself might be going down, but it's going down less than altcoins. So altcoins are going down much more than Bitcoin is, and that's why Bitcoin dominance is going up. And lastly, if the market is going sideways, but Bitcoin dominance is going up, what's happening is that although people are selling their altcoins, they're taking those profits and reinvesting it back into Bitcoin. Therefore, the market's going sideways because that money is shifting from altcoins back into Bitcoin. But in all three of these examples, Bitcoin is outperforming altcoins. And what I have come to realize is that people use many different indicators and many different charts to study the relationship between Bitcoin and altcoins, but I do personally believe that this is the best one to use. It is a direct reflection of what people are doing. Are they buying alts or are they buying Bitcoin? Period. And what we can see here is that something absolutely gigantic just happened. What we've seen over the last, let's go ahead and call this we're almost pushing 6 months now. Let's call it 5 months though. But in terms of days, over the last 156 days, so yeah, 5 months roughly, we have seen Bitcoin dominance consistently trending upwards in what is called an ascending channel. And I've told you all consistently, listen, ascending channels, although are bullish in the short term, tend to be bearish in the mid to long term. And what I mean by that is all altcoins or all Bitcoin, whatever that you see, any asset within the world of Web3 that enters into an ascending channel, again, higher highs, higher lows. An ascending channel has an over 90% chance of eventually breaking to the downside of it. And so even back here, do you guys remember back in March of 2025, I said, hey, listen, this is the first signal that we might be getting a breakdown for Bitcoin dominance soon. Do you see how we sat on the bottom of this channel for a while? You can only usually do that when that breakdown is on the way. And so I remember back then I told you all, hey, maybe we're about to get some little mini altcoin season. Pay very close attention. It might either happen now or it's signaling that it might happen soon. And well, what do you know? We get the bounce. Bitcoin continues to outperform for a little bit longer. We get a nice Fibonacci extension up here, which was real good. But then what do you know? We get this big pump the last couple of days, leading Bitcoin dominance to officially break down exactly as we spoke about, because this is what normally happens. This is what crypto normally does. Now, this breakdown in Bitcoin dominance implies that altcoins are now substantially outperforming Bitcoin. And you may say, well, Tyler, they've only been outperforming Bitcoin for 3 days, but Bitcoin's been outperforming for over 5 months. How can you say that this is altcoin season? And I do genuinely believe that that is a very, very good argument. But the truth here is that you have to consider the structure. Structurally speaking, Bitcoin dominance has been, again, an ascending channel. And this breakout signals that the structure in itself is changing. And historical data shows that when a structure of this nature, an ascending channel, breaks to the downside, it is not usually just a quick thing. It doesn't usually just do this and then immediately go back up into it. Now, it's possible, but it's not normal. That's like a 10% chance, a 15% chance of happening. That does not normally happen. What normally happens is that the breakout to the downside is continuous, and you'll usually see maybe some sort of little recovery, then a pullback, then you head back to some of your previous lows within the channel, then you go sideways for a bit. It usually takes time. And the reason it takes time is because you need this channel to get away, right? You need this channel to just go up and get away as far as it can so that you can start opening up the door for upside continuation. And so in a situation like this, the normal thing to happen is that we maintain out here for a while. And that the structure in itself is now changing to the point in which altcoins could consistently outperform Bitcoin, not only for a few days or maybe even a few weeks, but this could be a multi-month process. It might take Bitcoin 2 or 3 months to come back down, find some support, work itself back up, and then start trying to continue upwards. And that is what happens sometimes. For example, the last time that we saw something like this happen was actually back in November of 2024. Now, I don't know if you guys were around in November of 2024, but it was one of the most bullish periods in crypto history, with something like XRP absolutely flying from 50 cents, cleaning all the way up to $3.40, right? The last time that this happened, we saw an altcoin season. And I know some people will say, well, Tyler, November and December of 2024 wasn't an altcoin season. You are objectively wrong. It was a period of time in which we saw altcoins substantially and significantly and consistently outperforming Bitcoin. That is an altcoin season. The problem that people face is that they consistently compare it to 2021 and say, no, 2021 was an altcoin season. Wrong. 2021 was the biggest altcoin season. You cannot consistently compare a performance with a previous performance and say something is not something because that other something was a bigger version of it. Let me give you an example. Say LeBron James scores 155 points in one game. Random number, gigantic, probably impossible. But let's say in his best game ever, he scores 155 points. That's a fantastic performance. Let's say in another game, 2 years later, he scores 70 points. Are we now going to say that that's not a good performance because he was capable of scoring 155 points in a previous game? Or are we just going to say, no, that 155-point game was just his best performance. This was still a great game. It's the same thing with altcoins. You can't say that November wasn't an altcoin season because it wasn't as big as 2021. That is not how that works. And where we are right now is, again, showing signs that we are recreating or moving in a similar way that we have previously when we've seen altcoin seasons. So is this going to be the biggest altcoin season we've ever seen before? I don't know, guys. Is this going to be, Bitcoin dominance falling all the way back down to 55% with altcoins such as ETH pumping to 4K, sold at 300 and SWI up to $8? I don't know. It could be, but I'm not a future teller. I'm not here to read the future to you. I'm here to tell you what I see right now. And what I see at this exact moment is a time in the market in which structure is shifting and things are changing. And this is a moment that will, in my opinion, be the signal that some sort of altcoin season is here. And it's up to you and me to try to determine just how big it will be. And only time will tell. Now, the very last point that I want to hit on prior to closing out this video here is, what do we do now? Because I know a lot of you are like, okay, well, now that we have an understanding that we're in some sort of altcoin season, what do we do now? Well, it's not going to be as exciting as you think, okay? I'm a man who likes confirmations, and I like to get an understanding of where the market's going to go prior to doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. And so in a moment like this, no, I'm not just going buy as many altcoins as humanly possible. No, I'm not just going to go ape in on 100x long trades on Ethereum, Solana, and Sui. No, I'm not going to do those things because the truth of the nature here is that, listen, the crypto market has ran and it's been doing very good, right? Bitcoin itself ran all the way up to 103K, but all of these cryptos are at massive levels of resistance and many of them are overbought. Look, like if we go to the RSI heat map really quickly, you can see here on the 4 hour, everything's overbought. On the 12 hour, everything's overbought. On the 24 hour, everything's overbought, guys. Even on the weekly, things are getting close to overbought or strong, right? And what this means is that as we keep getting higher and higher in the crypto market, it's going to continue to be difficult for the market to continue upwards. It would not shock me to see some sort of pullback sometime soon. I mean, look at the liquidations that we're seeing here in the crypto market on the 30-day. It is obnoxious. Look at Bitcoin. We are seeing 16 billion in liquidations to the downside and only 2 something billion, $1.8 billion in liquidations to the upside. That means that there are a lot more liquidations that will happen if this market goes a little bit down than up. And generally speaking, when this happens, the market does pull back eventually. So I do think that we will see this market continue to pull back at some point. I do think we're going to see it cool down at some point. But my macro vision here is that the crypto market will eventually pump. Even if it pulls back, I do think it's going to pump. And so with that in mind, my thought process is that I'm going to continue to take profits the higher that the market goes. And when we do eventually get that pullback, when we do see the market cool down and slow down, when it's time for me to reinvest some of the profits that I've been pulling out the crypto market back into the crypto market, instead of investing it into Bitcoin, I'm going to shift that DCA into some of my alts. These include things like Solana, Sui, maybe a little XRP, maybe a tiny amount of Ethereum, even though I'm not a huge Ethereum fan. Maybe a tiny amount of Ethereum. Maybe I go HBAR. Maybe I go Jasmy. Maybe a little Caspa. I'll update you. Don't you worry. But my strategy here is to continue to take profits off Bitcoin in my portfolio as we're pumping, and then I'll reinvest some of those profits back in once we get a pullback into some of my altcoins. It's called a rotation. And I'm going to rotate some of my profits back into alts on the first pullback that we do get here. And so with that in mind, I have 2 things that I want you to do from this video going forward, okay? Thing number 1 is I want you to start looking at your alts again. You've probably not really been paying attention to them. I want you to go look at the ones and find the ones that have been performing well that you believe in. I like Ondo. I like Sui. I like some of those. So I'm going to prepare my watch list in order to get ready to accumulate them. The second thing I want you to do is if you are in profit, I want you to start to consider, I'm not going to tell you to do it, but I want you to at least consider starting to take some profits off the table. Listen, the only way to truly realize gains in the world of crypto is to take profits. People will convince you not to, but that's because they want to dump their crypto on you. They don't want you to get out before them, okay? You should take profits. It is what people should do. It is no problem, okay? And so I want you to start considering taking some profits off the table if they're available to you, because the reality is when we do get a pullback, there will be opportunities to dollar cost average back in and to accumulate more of that same crypto at smaller prices. Now, I'm not saying sell everything. I never sell everything. I sell small percentages. Look, this is my buy sell bubble sheet that we're looking at here. Do you see how I'm constantly just taking a little bit of profit off the table? 1% of my bag, 2%, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%, 6%, right? You see how I'm consistently selling small amounts as I go? That's the right way to do it, in my opinion. And that's what I want you to at least consider, is pulling some profits off the table. And look, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know how to take profits, guys, I talk about taking profits and stuff like that all the time over in the school. Over in the school, look, I just released to them a whole guide on exactly how I take profit in the moments in which I take profits. And I also tell them when I take profits. Look, I just closed down 6% of my entire bag here, closed down 6% of my entire crypto portfolio while Bitcoin's on that pump, right? I tell them exactly when I'm taking profits as well, so they know when I'm doing it, so they can start to build up an idea of when they should as well in their head. So if you want access to all these things that I post, as well as access to coaches, classes, live streams, workshops, trade signals, and much more, I want you to head to the link down below and go check out the school, because our mission at the school is very simple. We take crypto investors like yourselves and we give you the tools that you need to develop strategies, because a strategy is what creates a winning investor. And when I say winning investors, I mean winning investors. This is just over the last 24 to 48 hours. absolutely smashing amounts of gains. And look, I can just scroll and scroll. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in gains being generated in this community every single week, guys. And so if you are someone who wants to capitalize on this, and if you want to learn more about taking profits, head to the link down below and go check that out. And so with that in mind, that's where I'm at. And that's what I'm thinking. Look, Bitcoin has officially broken down. Bitcoin dominance is officially broken down. And that does mean that some sort of altcoin season is here. And as this does continue forward, I'll be able to get a clearer picture of how big this altcoin season will be, if it's only going to last 5 days or if it's going to last 5 months, exactly what I'm doing, what I'm rotating in, and much more as this does continue forward. So of course, I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Do not forget, if you want to start trading some altcoin and some Bitcoins and up to 500x leverage, you can check out that link to BTCC down below. And again, do not forget to go check out the link to the school if you want to start your path to becoming a winning investor today. But of course, I hope you guys do have an absolutely fantastic weekend, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.